really need to stop shaming our African American women. Let's stop making it a thing to shame African American women because they want to put weave in their hair, or because they have tattoos, or because they have all these earrings and they like to adorn themselves with multiple colors. Last time I checked, every single African tribe out there does exactly the same thing, and they've been doing it for thousands of years.
This is the first time I've ever seen a Black man openly and vehemently defend Black women wearing weaves. That's a new one. Y'all know I have my own issues with the wigs and the weaves. And it's not because I'm against a woman expressing herself and being creative and doing different things. Like, I understand Black women and her hair. Like, there's just something about Black women and her hair. Like, I get it. We have a special relationship with it. I cannot divorce myself from the history of what weaves meant and what it's meant specifically in the context of the USA. So it's less to me about how the woman does her hair and more about, I think, the reasons why, the narratives behind it, the conversations that I heard and the conversations that I know many Black women heard that I think actually perpetuate self-hatred. And then it's also the fact that at the end of the day, the wig and the weave industry is completely empowering the Asian community. It's not circulating in the Black community. It's not an industry that we own. It's something that we actually fund, but we don't own. It is dominated by the Asian community. And so I think for that reason alone, it's become exploitative, and it's really based upon, in my beliefs, this notion that Black hair is just not good enough. Of course, this isn't every situation. I understand there's times when it makes sense, but we can't act like there aren't large scenarios and situations in which it's just self-hatred. We've just normalized because it's just been going on for so long. That is my challenge with it. But let's continue to see what he has to say.
For thousands of years, African women have been putting all manner of objects in their hair to adorn their hair. For thousands of years, African women, along with men, have been putting marks and tattoos on their faces to adorn themselves and distinguish themselves for thousands of years. Last time I checked, African women been wearing all manners of gold hoops and earrings, and even some in their lips and nose piercings and all that for thousands of years. So if it's okay for traditional Africans and their tribes to be wearing all the scarification marks, they be putting all kinds of different clay mud in their hair and different bird feathers in their hair and different freaking fibers in their hair to adorn their hair, different trinkets and jewels and beads. Don't be disrespecting the African American for doing exactly the same thing.
I understand what he's saying as far as why would you be disrespecting somebody for basically just expressing their own cultural identity. I completely understand that. Now, I know this is Afro Think Tank. He is obviously a content creator, but he's also a Pan-Africanist. He is Black American or African American, lives in DC or the East Coast, to my understanding, but he does do business in Nigeria, have some businesses running out there. And so very much connected to his African ancestry. And so obviously he's going to be coming from that perspective, that point of view. Many people in the Pan-African space, right, argue that even though there are still aspects of the Black culture that still have been able to retain Africanity, right? Even if it's in the smallest form, whether it be through dances, cooking methods, he's mentioned hair. And so definitely coming from that perspective. And I do think, but I remember when I went to the Egyptian Museum, there's one in the Bay Area I went to a few months ago, and in the ancient Egypt, really ancient Kemet, right, museum, there was a part there where it showed weave. It showed like literally how women in ancient Kemet were wearing weaves. Now, it wasn't the kind that we have today. Like they were saying back then, the idea of beauty and youth was associated with like big, full hair, like really full, gorgeous Black hair, right? And so they had shown like pieces that women would do, I think, to just try to make it look fuller or just to try to give the look. So you had these ancient Egyptian, these ancient Kemetic women who were wearing weaves thousands of years ago. So in that perspective, it's like, yes, there are some things that are going on today that have been going on forever. I personally am against the exploitive aspect of specifically the wigs and the weaves because the history behind it, because of how black hair has been discriminated against black men and women, right? This isn't just women, both have. So because of that, and because of the stories and the narratives around black hair, specifically in America, that is why I tend to have an issue with it. But I understand where he's coming from. And I also understand that's not every situation. And probably needs to be a little bit more, maybe there needs to be a little bit more flexibility on that. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's totally off base? Are you just like, I don't care what argument is, wigs and weaves are bad? I'm curious your thoughts on this.
It ain't nothing but cultural consistency. And for the rest of you ladies from the other cultures, you Asians do the same thing. Y'all be putting the tattoos. Y'all got facial scarification tattoos. Y'all put tattoos and things on your face. Y'all adorn your hair with all manners of items and trinkets and thingamajiggies and stuff. And y'all also wear hair extensions. But y'all like to disrespect the African American and call it a weave because that word weave sounds more derogatory than extension. But you white women, you Asian women also wear weaves in your hair consistently. It's just easier to hide it underneath your straight hair.
All women wear weaves or extensions. Now, to what level and to what degree, I think we can all agree that black women dominate by and large. But there are times that you'll see Asian women, Latino women, like adding, whether it's trying to add a little bit of length, trying to add fullness. It does for sure. It does happen.
So this total disrespect, this normalcy of disrespecting black women for being colorful, when you can look at every black African tribe and you see the various colors that they wear on their hair, their clothing. African people are colorful in general. So how do you look at an African American woman who also practicing cultural consistency and wearing multiple colors in their hair all over the place and look down upon that? You ought to be ashamed of yourself, especially you continent. Some of you continental Africans that think you can judge somebody. Just look at your tribe. Look at the women in your tribe. Look at the history of your tribe, the tribes that you're proud of, and look how the women dress. Look what the traditional things they put in their hair. So don't you dare look at our African American women and look down on them or try to say that they look ghetto.
I understand where he's coming from. I hear where he's coming from, where it's like, look, this is cultural consistency. Black women have been doing this for thousands of years. So don't go all of a sudden and like pick on black women. This is cultural retention. Completely understand that. Question is, why is there such an emphasis on retaining that aspect of African culture, but it seems like many of the other ones are overlooked? Right? Everything from the importance of understanding the importance of family, understanding the importance of marriage, child rearing, ideas around modesty, ideas around a woman's body, ideas around the respecting of elders, understanding hierarchy, understanding honor, understanding the importance of a community. Like, why is it just the hair? Like, why is that the aspect of Africanity that is maintained, but you have all these other cultural bodies that actually would be a lot more beneficial, specifically to the Black American experience, that are lost, or that there's not a emphasis to retain. And so that's always my pushback for those who just like all of a sudden you want to be pro-Black or pan-African when it comes to wearing a weave, but you don't care about anything else. But you don't care about any other aspect of the culture, and it's just you're saying that because you want to defend your point. So that's where sometimes, to me, when I hear people arguing that, like especially women, I'm like, is this really coming from a genuine place? Because if it really was coming from a genuine place, it wouldn't just stop with the weaves. You would be wanting to understand other aspects of the culture and seeing how it either connects to what you're doing today or taking on some of those aspects of the culture so that you can improve your life and live in a way that's more authentic to you as a Black woman.
So, and for you African American men, or not African American men, for you African men, you Caribbean men, or any kind of man that look down on African American women because they like to look colorful and not dull, right? Because you think, oh, I'm just going to attach all those things to ghetto, but you guys also emulate all of those things at the same time. I see women here in Nigeria that got the tattoos, they got the nose rings, they got the extensions, they got the hair, they doing the same shit. So stop being so judgmental to the African American woman who's just practicing African cultural consistency. And for all you Asians and Europeans, stop judging the African American because you trying your best to look just like them. And a lot of you Southeastern Asians got exactly the same aesthetics. They do the exact same thing African Americans do while looking down on African Americans, the people that you idolize in the first place, but you hating because you can't be like, right? Calling them ghetto and less than. While you emulate them, give it a new name and think you're doing something spectacular and amazing. Get out of here. I'm so sick of that. Stop copying our beautiful African American women and then trying to shit at the same time. Also, stop copying our African American men and try to shit because I'm sick of it. I know I'm a Pan-African, but I'm not going to let you while copying our people. I'm not going to let you people, while your traditional people in your tribes and kingdom do the same same material, buying it from the same Korean or Chinese or Indian. Get out of my face. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. This is Afro Think Tank. We're gonna teach them. I'm out.
But what do you guys think? Do you agree with him as far as the wigs and the weaves are concerned? Do you agree with him as far as like disrespecting Black women and their unique expression? And do you think that it is degenerate and that's the aspect of things that need to go? Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.
I'm really excited to announce my new kids book, Aisha Learns to Love Her Hair. Aisha's hair is stunning, but she struggles to see its beauty. Through encouragement and wisdom from Grandma Lily, Aisha learns powerful lessons about self-acceptance. Aisha's journey is a heartwarming tale of family, culture, and confidence. Share her magical journey with your little loved one today, available for purchase.